Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to Watchers Podcast with your hosts, Brad and Colson.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Why are you doing this to us? Because you were home.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told it was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Hey kids, welcome to Watchers. My name is Brad, here with Colson Oliver.
Hello.
And by kids, I strongly mean anyone over the age of 18. So if you're under 18, keep listening if you're a rebel, but there's going to be some potty talk.
Sure will. Mostly for me.
Yeah.
But
You're always going on about poop and farts, and
I sure am.
just like my son.
Exactly.
How's it going today?
It's going good. Yourself?
Good. Got a great episode lined up.
Mm-hmm.
We're continuing our Stephen King trend.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, did you watch anything this week?
I did. I got 5 done.
Okay.
Pulp Fiction, again, which I've seen multiple times.
Yep.
Pride and Glory, which is the same for me. I've seen it multiple times.
I don't think I know what that one is.
That's, Edward Norton, Colin Farrell, they play cops in New York. It's a whole family of cops, and there's corruption and all that fun stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a good one, though. The guy who directed Warrior directed it.
Oh, okay.
Gavin O'Connor, I think his name is.
I like that movie.
Yeah. But it's good. I watched Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Okay. This is the first time watch for you?
Uh-huh.
I've been kind of waiting to hear what you thought of this. Doesn't look good.
Yeah. The biggest problem I had with it was the 100% use of CGI.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like that Mama movie. Remember that? Or yeah, Mama. Yeah, Andy Muschietti or whatever, the guy who directed it.
Yeah.
It's literally 100%. I don't think there was anything practical in it.
No, probably not.
And yeah, I'm not a huge Guillermo del Toro, however the fuck you say that guy's name. I'm not a big fan of his anyway, so
right.
His involvement in it
didn't do anything for you.
No. Yeah, so that one, it was good. It could have been better, is all I'm saying, for me.
Yeah.
I watched a movie that was surprisingly decent called Home Sweet Hell.
Home Sweet Hell.
It's got Patrick Wilson from the Insidious movies and the Conjuring movies, and Katherine Heigl, who I don't like.
No, neither do I.
But he plays they're a husband and wife, and she's like by the book, everything by the book, like everything's scheduled out, everything's scheduled in advance, all that bullshit. Mm-hmm. And he just kind of wants to, change things up a little bit. And then he hires Jordana Brewster from the Fast and Furious movies as a saleswoman in his store. And they end up hooking up. And it's not a big spoiler, very light spoiler, but the wife finds out and she takes care of it. So yeah, it wasn't bad. It had some funny shit in it, but just an average comedy movie.
Right.
But,
it's a comedy.
Yeah, comedy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what else you'd call it. It's comedy.
It's funny, with the name, I was expecting it to be like a thriller.
Thriller horror type
when
thing.
you're describing it.
It's definitely like, it's got some gore in it. It's pretty,
okay.
It was fun. So I watched that, and then I watched Glory, which is a war movie from the 90s, I think, maybe even 1990.
Okay.
It's got Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman, and Matthew Broderick.
Oh, okay.
So I've had that on my watch list for years, and I just bought it the other day and watched it. So.
And how was it?
It was good.
Lived up?
Yeah, not my favorite war movie by any means.
Yeah.
But I like getting all different types: World War II, World War One, Vietnam, all the different wars, and just watching them. This one's like I think it's Civil War because the North versus South.
Oh yeah,
that time frame. So
Matthew Broderick in a war movie seems weird to me.
I know.
He's a wiener.
I know. I was very like, this is gonna go. He was okay. Nothing special, but
okay.
Yeah, it was fun. Good movie.
Nice.
Yeah, what about you?
I watched Tom and Jerry.
Oh.
Yeah.
How was that?
It's a front runner for the worst movie I've watched this year.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a little disappointing because we took the kids actually to the movie theater to watch it on Easter because there's nothing really going on here with COVID. So we were the only ones in the theater, so that was a good sign right off the bat.
Exactly.
Which was all right because we actually got to sit together.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you had to sit in pairs of two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, the stuff with Tom and Jerry, like fighting like they did in the cartoons, it's good. It's funny.
Okay.
But it was good because the cartoons are like 5 to 10 minutes long.
Right.
This is a 2-hour movie.
Okay.
And
so it runs its course pretty quick.
Yeah. And actually it may have been like an hour and a half. I don't know. It felt like I was watching a 3-hour movie.
Wow.
The kids even sort of got bored halfway through, but at the start of the movie, Chloe Grace Moretz or whatever, she's like the main girl in it.
Okay.
And she lies about her resume.
Okay.
To get a job at this fancy hotel.
Oh.
Yeah. And then she's trying to get rid of their mouse problem because there's a fancy wedding there. So moral of the story.
Yeah.
Lie to get ahead.
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
That's weird. Why
Yeah.
would they do that? You were the only... How was the theater experience again? Like, I know it was empty, but like...
It felt good to be back.
Yeah. Do you have to wear a mask in the thing?
Just going in.
Okay.
Once you're in your seat, you can take your mask off.
Okay. And is that the same if it was a full theater? Same.
Yeah.
I guess they have it all spaced
out.
Okay.
And you're eating your popcorn and
of course,
shit like that, so.
You drink through the filter of the fucking mask. Shove food through, hopefully. Sorry.
Yeah, you just fill the mask up like one of those dogs with the little, or the horse with the bag on his face.
That's right. Yeah, no, a guy I work with went to, I think it's called Nobody.
Yes.
Yeah, he said it was very busy for that, and they were originally going to go see Godzilla vs. Kong, and it was sold out every single show.
Yeah. Godzilla vs. Kong is making some money for the theaters, which is good to see.
Yeah.
Gives us hope.
Yeah. That's right.
For seeing the stuff we want to see this year.
Yeah. And so that's good. Okay. Yeah. Anything else you watch?
Before I move on, one of my friends actually went to see Godzilla vs. Kong.
Okay.
And when the movie started, there was a pink hue to the whole film. Like,
why?
Everything was pink because the projector was dying, I guess.
Oh.
And then halfway in, the screen went blank. And then they were told, oh no, we're fixing it. So they sat there for an hour.
Oh.
And then we're told that the movie wasn't going to start again.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but he ended up getting 8 free passes to the movies, which is fine.
Yeah.
I would do that for 8 free movie tickets.
I would too. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I'd be so mad at the time, though.
Me too.
Oh.
When something like that happens, you're like, maybe I do want to rent these movies at home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, less chance of a issue happening.
Yeah, not going to drive for an hour
to
get there and then not see it and drive home.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, I'd be so livid.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
The other movie I watched also was about mice in a hotel.
Okay.
And that was The Witches. The Roald Dahl.
The new one?
No.
Okay.
The original.
Okay.
First time I had ever seen it, though.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I've heard. I watched it when I was young, but not since I was young.
Yeah.
But I remember liking it.
My wife was like, "Oh, I watched this in school," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" It's like you never get away with watching that in school now.
That's funny.
Yeah, the entire faculty would be fired.
Yeah. And do you have any interest in watching the new one with Anne Hathaway? After watching this, like,
I might.
yeah,
It's not high on my priority list, but I might watch it.
get to it at some point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I watched episode 3 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Great show.
Still loving it.
So good.
How many are there? Do we know?
I think it's going to be 9 again,
9.
maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fantastic.
It's good.
It's so good. It just gets better every episode.
Is this the one that's leading into... No, WandaVision, you said, leads into Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one almost feels like they're trying to set up like Civil War 2
Okay.
or something almost.
Right on.
I won't get too much into that, but yeah, I think you'll like this show if you ever get around to it.
I probably will at some point.
Yeah.
I've got Disney Plus, so I got to start watching shit.
That's right.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So that's all I watched.
Okay.
But hopefully next
Big week for you.
It was.
Yeah.
I know. I never get 2 movies in.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I felt productive.
That's right.
Or not.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, you feel productive watching too. I watch fucking sometimes 4 a day. I'm the worst.
I'm jealous. So moving on, I do have a scary story this week.
Okay.
Another one from Prince Edward Island.
Awesome.
Another person who said, I don't want my name out there.
Right. Okay.
Small town. Don't want people thinking you're crazy. We'll leave that up to us to be the crazy people.
Exactly.
So the story is... This one, whenever I asked, I expected a lot more of these stories actually, but
Okay.
we'll get to that whenever we get to it.
Sure.
I was about 12 or 13. My brother and I were walking back from the church at night. We're playing around and we could hear screaming, but it was very faint. We looked out to the water, and there, coming from the east going west, was a 3-mast tall ship. It was completely engulfed in flames, people jumping off on fire and screaming. It was the brightest blue I've ever seen, so I started asking around, and people call her the Phantom Ship.
I think I've heard of this one before from...
Yeah.
This is like one of those tales, you know?
Yeah, I've heard stories of people seeing this.
Never heard from anybody who's actually seen it, though.
No.
If this is the same thing I'm thinking of.
Probably.
Yeah.
I know there's one that you can see, like, down around Brunel or Georgetown,
That's
I
probably
think,
the one I'm thinking of.
which
then.
I guess would sort of be the same area of water.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear a lot of stories about
Yeah.
seeing one over there,
That's cool.
which is, what, 20 minutes, half an hour from
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
It'd be kind of fun to try and go and see it sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
We could live stream it.
Exactly.
We're like, hey, we're standing out here in the dark by ourselves.
Yeah.
But what a sight. Like, what do? You see a ship on fire and people jumping into the water. Your first thought is like, holy shit, I gotta help them.
Yeah, that's right.
But then you're like, oh, I can't.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'd like to, I don't know. I'd like to see that myself, you know?
Yeah, if I have to see a ghost, that's probably the kind I want to see.
Yeah.
Like, far away, out
Far
on the
away,
water.
exactly.
It's like, you're not going to be on land.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I bet if you did some research into it, though, you could probably find out, like, the shipwreck or
Right.
which ship was on fire or something like that.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So thank you for the story, Anonymous.
Yep.
And if you guys have a story, send it to Watchers_podcast on Instagram. Or if you're watching on YouTube, just put it in the comments below.
Yeah.
Now, on to our review for this week.
Yeah, that's right.
Misery from 1990, 7.8 on IMDb. Directed by Rob Reiner, was it?
Yep.
I forgot to write it down.
Yeah, you got it.
Phew. Rob
Good.
Reindeer.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you want to give a little bit of a rundown?
Yes. So after a famous author is rescued from a car crash by a fan of his novels, he comes to realize that the care he is receiving is only the beginning of the nightmare of captivity and abuse. So, not a real horror movie. This is definitely a thriller type, but I'd say it falls into that.
Pretty fucking scary.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're in the situation.
Yeah, so the cast, we have Annie Wilkes is played by Kathy Bates. Paul Sheldon is James Caan, and I wrote down Richard Farnsworth plays Buster.
Yeah.
I think he was in the Anne of Green Gables thing. Is that right? Do you know?
Buster?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
I just assume since you're from PEI, you know everything about Anne of Green Gables.
Oh, was he in the play?
I don't know if it's a play or a TV show.
Oh, okay.
My wife always mentions it like, oh, it's so-and-so from Anne of Green. I have no idea.
Name dropping.
Yeah. But, yeah, so first time watch for you?
First time watch for me.
I was very surprised to hear that.
Yeah. For some reason, I've always been like, I should watch that. Mm-hmm. And then just never did.
Yeah, because to tell the story of how we came up with doing this episode, you messaged me saying Misery's on Amazon for the Scream Factory version or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, want to do Misery? And you're like, yes. Never seen it before. I was like, what? Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how we came up with this one.
And it's funny because one of the reasons I never watched it is I sort of was like, okay, I know what happens.
Right.
Like, he's a writer. He's in bed. She's keeping him there.
Yeah.
Didn't quite know the twists.
Right.
So that's a good time to tell you guys. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
There's going to be some spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hadn't even read the book for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love Stephen King, but yeah, I don't know why. I've just never went to this one.
Okay.
But I'm glad I finally did.
Yeah, me too. Movie's an hour and 47 minutes. For some reason in my head, I thought it was like an hour and a half or even less than that.
Yeah.
And when I hit the display button, I was like, hour 4. I was like, holy shit. I don't remember it being this long, but it does go pretty quick.
It does,
I think.
I would agree.
Yeah.
It's funny seeing James Caan.
I think it's Con.
Con?
I think so.
Okay. God!
Exactly. I think. You may be right. I just know his son is Scott Conn. I believe.
Okay.
Or maybe it is Can. Scott Can. Scott Conn. Whatever.
Con.
Who gives a fuck? Yes.
Okay. James C. Yeah, because he doesn't look a whole lot different in this than he does in Elf. Because he's Buddy's dad.
That's
in Elf.
right. Yeah, and that's like, what, 15 years? Or 13 years after?
Yeah. And Kathy Bates turned into an old lady quickly after this.
Yeah.
Like, she looks so much older.
Yeah.
But he's basically playing a similar character to what he does in Elf.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's dealing with a crazy person. He's just making, like, smart-ass comments at them the whole time.
Elf is just the very, very PG version of this movie, essentially, with him anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The opening scene, I love it. The old typewriter click noise, and it just kind of set the whole thing up because you see the bottle of champagne, the glass of cigarette, him typing, and you get to, okay, this is his kind of end of book routine thing that he does.
Yep.
And then as he just starts driving, the music's playing, starts getting bad weather, and he crashes.
Yeah, driving like a lunatic.
Within 5 minutes of the opening, when the camera turns on, within 5 minutes, he is upside down an embankment.
Yep.
It does not take very long to get into it.
Not at all.
And I like it.
I like that Kathy Bates is like carrying up a snow-covered hill with him over her shoulder.
I wrote this down. My only... Because, spoiler alert, I really like this movie. I've seen it a lot.
Yeah.
My only real issue with this movie is that scene.
Yeah.
She pries the door open, that's fine. She gets him out, that's fine. She does CPR on him, gets him breathing again, all good. But then we see the faraway shot. It's snowing like crazy. She somehow got an unconscious or barely conscious guy over her shoulder and is going to walk up, I assume, this really steep embankment.
Yeah, with deep snow.
I just wish that she just had like some sort of sled that she could just pull him up. Like, I don't know. That's the one thing that bugs me.
Yeah. Me too, because later in the movie you see her struggling with him to get him into bed.
Yeah.
When he's able to help lift himself in.
That's a great point.
Yeah. She should just be able to throw him like a javelin.
Exactly. Yeah, it should be like a mother with like a year-old baby, essentially.
The way she drags him up that hill.
Exactly. But that's the only thing that I'm just like, oh boy. But I don't give a fuck because I still love it.
Yeah, that is a minor
Very
gripe
minor
in this movie.
That's right.
Yeah, like you said, doesn't take long to get going.
No.
It's crazy.
So
crazy.
Once he wakes up and we meet Annie for the first time, just hit the great shot of the blurry camera fading in and out, and I'm your number one fan. I'm your number one fan. Just repeating, and he sees her fucking big mug looking at him. The worst. Just you get in a horrible accent, your number one fan is there. And she's a crazy. Well, we don't know if she's crazy yet, but she's crazy.
Yeah. And I wonder what kind of crazy she is.
Yeah.
Like, is she just like is it a normal type of like movie book crazy, or is there some like mental issues that they dig into deeper in the book that we don't know about?
Yeah,
or...
we get a little hint a little later on with the album that he flips through, but not very. It's a very 15-second thing.
Yeah, you find out that she's a baby murderer. Which was insane. They call her the Dragon Lady.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so and his legs, the unveiling of his legs.
They're disgusting.
They're bruised from like the high thigh right down. She's got like, what are those?
Like stints.
Yeah. They're all taped up and he's bleeding in spots. Brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his feet are like swollen. Yeah. Disgusting looking.
So gross. Yeah, she's great though. She's
so good.
So good. And the next character I'll talk, Buster. We meet him pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because Paul's not manager, but publisher.
Yeah.
She phones him up like, have you seen him? You know, whatever. And do you notice the thing he's doing with the rubber band?
Yeah.
Just like this like character thing that he's picked up.
Yeah, he's flicking the rubber band around his fingers.
As you see, he's thinking like, because he finds out that he checked out the day of that big storm, Tuesday or whatever it was, and he's just deep into thought while flicking. And the camera even zooms in on
I noticed that too.
Flicking rubber band. Weird.
Yeah. I love Buster.
Yeah, he's great.
The perfect, like, small-town sheriff.
Yeah.
And his wife as the deputy.
Yeah.
The two of them are so funny together.
Perfect.
She's answering the phone. She's like, I don't know where he is. He's probably having an affair somewhere.
Right.
And then he's like, I'm honored that you think I have that much energy to be having an affair.
No, he's great.
Yeah. What's crazy, he's dead now.
Right.
The woman is still alive.
Yeah, she is.
She looks old in this, and this is 1990.
Yeah. I think very, I don't know, good genes, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey. The next note I have written down is, because he had finished his new book, and he offers her the chance to read it, which she's excited about. And this is the scene where we get to see her first, like, psycho-ness. She mentioned she's 40 pages in, and she's complaining because of the curse words.
Yeah.
And she's feeding him tomato soup in the scene. And she fucking... he's saying how kids talk like that. No, they don't. And she goes off on her rant. So funny.
Yeah.
So good.
And it's a well-shot scene because you can see, like, the cross hanging around her.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, she's religious, and that's why the bad language is bothering her.
That's right.
She's not swearing herself. No. She's, like, calling him a dirty bird.
Yeah, dirty bird.
Like, oogie language or something. Like, she's just... But then she starts swearing.
Yeah.
and she's not even using it correctly.
No, it's hilarious.
So funny.
That's what's the best about it, is she doesn't even, like, give me some of that bastard bird feed, or whatever the hell she's... It's so good, like, just somebody who has no idea what to actually say.
Exactly.
And she nailed it.
Yeah.
And she, of course, spills the tomato soup on the blanket, and, there, look what you made me do! And Paul's face as he's looking up at her, just like, whoa, is great. And then they end that scene perfectly, because she's looking at him and she just goes, I love you, or I love you, Paul. And then he kind of gets uncomfortable, and she's like, your mind, I love your mind.
Yeah,
like trying to cover up, like, oh boy. And the music it plays throughout is I love it.
Yeah,
because when it's creepy, it's creepy. When it's kind of light, it's light, you know.
Yeah,
and just. It starts getting creepier and it picks up a little bit.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, and she can turn crazy on like flipping a switch.
Oh, for sure.
Like, you said how good she is in this. It is insane.
Yeah.
Like, because she's just like talking normal and then snap, and she's nuts.
I know. So good.
Yeah.
Oh. What did I... Oh. A little later on in the movie, she's talking about when her husband, she's basically staring out the window and talking to him like, you know, when my husband left, I jumped deep into work, and that's when I found misery. And we're getting this whole story, and it's very deep from her end. Mm-hmm. And we find out the whole time he's just pissing into a jug. Like, he shakes it like, I'm all done. Like, and she's like, okay, and goes over. It's just such a... That's when I mean, like, the character... Both of them. Mm-hmm. Her, though, like, she's crazy.
She is.
And it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, she's obsessed with this book character, Misery.
Misery.
She has a pet pig named Misery, and I love that pig.
That pig rules.
I want to own a pet pig.
Yeah.
Something that's super smart that they do in the movie is she's reading this book about misery. And she's like going on. The further she gets into it, like she's like, "Oh, like it's so good, I love it." Blah blah blah. And early in the movie, the publisher is talking to Paul about like, you can't kill off this Misery character,
right? So
you know she's going to find out soon.
That's right.
That Misery's dead.
That's right.
And you know her attitude, and like how she's going to take it.
Exactly.
And it's just like the best way of building tension.
Yeah.
The whole time you're like, oh, I don't want her to get to that part
exactly.
in the book. Like,
it's coming.
So good.
Yeah, because she mentioned, she's like, I only have like, you know, 2 chapters left or whatever.
Yeah. And they keep doing that. They're like, I have 5 chapters.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, good point. You know it's coming. And when she finishes it, it's I believe it's a nighttime shot. And he just kind of looks
sleeping, I think. And
she's at the foot of his bed going, you dirty birdie. And then, she accuses him of killing her.
Yeah.
And then she's picking up his bed and smashing it down.
Yeah.
Like
with his legs are destroyed.
You did it! You murdered her! And he's like, Jesus Christ. He's trying to hold on to everything he can because the fucking legs are killing him.
Yeah.
But, such a good... Like, they do this weird... It's a shot from, like, it's underneath...
Like,
looking
laying
up,
in bed.
No, I'm talking about at her.
Oh, yeah.
Very close up of her face, and it's she looks so creepy.
Yeah.
And in the daytime, she looks creepy, but it's more like a friendly creepy. Like, you can tell something's almost off with this woman, but she's approachable. She looks friendly, but at nighttime, when they do that weird shot of the under, and her face is expressionless or whatever that word, she's just very creepy.
And she can do this thing where her eyes sort of bug out sometimes. Yeah. Like, I don't know how she does that, because she looks normal.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it looks like her eyes are going to pop out of her head.
Yeah.
Like,
in one scene, they actually look like they're going in different directions.
Yeah.
And I know Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise, is able to do that. That shot of Pennywise doing that eye thing is actually, it's not CGI. It's him doing it. So I'm wondering if she has that ability a little bit and
Maybe.
can kind of tweak her eyes out because they look very creepy.
Maybe when you're cast in a Stephen King movie, you gain that ability.
Exactly. It just kind of happens.
I also heard that the dog from Cujo could do that as
Yes,
well.
that's a great point. Yeah, and after her freak out, after Misery dies, because the whole time she's like, the roads are closed to the hospital, the phone lines are down, and he's holding on to this hope, like he'll get to a hospital and get to a phone, whatever. And this is the moment when she tells him, like, I didn't call anybody, and you're not going anywhere. And you better hope nothing happens to me, because if I die, you die.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then she just locks his door and leaves, and he's sitting there like, fuck. Like, could you imagine?
No.
What the fuck? So creepy. It is like a high level of creep.
Yeah.
She is gone.
Yeah. You know what's really scary?
What's that?
Shit like this probably happens.
Oh, for sure. Oh, definitely.
Imagine if someone has, like, Tupac tied up in a bed right now.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna make a new rap album for me to put out. That's
right.
why all this new Tupac music keeps coming out
That's
after he's
very,
dead.
very true.
He's laying in bed with broken feet.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I love the reveal of her telling him that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. After that scene, she freaks out him. She gets in her car and leaves, and he actually tries to escape. So he gets his ass out of bed, and his legs, of course, bang down, and it's horrible to watch.
Yes.
And he slides his way over, and of course the door is locked. And the best part is the next morning, of course, he's sleeping on the floor because he can't get back into bed. And this is the scene that you were mentioning, but that night before, she freaked out at him.
Yep.
Then told him that she didn't call anybody and that he's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The next morning, when she finds him on the floor, she's like, "Oh, look at you, you silly thing." He lifts him back in like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Even though they both know, like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just, it's like a day-night thing with her.
Yeah.
But she
it's
does
so
have
weird.
freakouts during the day, but still.
Yeah.
And, yeah, at that point, she brings the barbecue in, makes him burn his book that he had written, and is going to then rewrite Misery, new Misery, bringing her back to life so she can have her fucking fantasy world continue on.
Yeah. I love her her little speech about watching the shows at the movie theater.
Right.
I forget what it's called.
Yeah, I didn't write the exact word down, but I know the thing you're talking about.
She's saying, like, how he, at the end of the show, it ends on a cliffhanger of him about to fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
And you think he's dead, and then the next time it shows him jumping out of the car.
Yeah.
I forget the guy's name.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I just watched this last night.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday, too. I've seen it fucking 20 times. I can't remember.
And then she starts, like, screaming, like, "You're a cheater." It's like...
Do you all have amnesia? He's great. Yeah. He didn't get out of the cock-a-doodie car. That's the line. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, I wish I wrote down all of her swear words so I could just start using them.
Yeah, that's right.
Cock-a-doodie,
I got
dirty
one written
birdie.
down. I got one written down that's coming up, and I love it. Yeah, so when she tells him he's rewriting the Misery thing, and she gets him that paper, and he's like, "Well, it smudges," and he writes it out, the word smudge, and oh, so it does smudge after all. And then she makes that switch where she's clearly bought the wrong paper, and she, "You need anything else while I'm in town? How about I just bring the whole goddamn store back to you or whatever?" And the worst part is at the end she grabs that paper, which is heavy, and she slams it down on his legs like just a monster of a woman. She's horrible. But and then she just drives off again, leaving, going to get new paper. And I think during that scene he finds the bobby pin, which is going to become his key to kind of get out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's because the next scene is him going around the house, and that's, I think, when No, he sees a phone, and he rolls up to it, and he picks it up, and he dials the operator thing, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
And he picks the phone up, and it's hollowed out.
Yeah. That'd be so discouraging.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm finally getting out of here. And then you pick the phone up, and it's dead.
Yeah. And when he knocks the penguin off, did you notice the penguin? Because they do that shot. It's basically the penguin in focus with him coming towards it in a blur.
Yeah.
He hits it, catches it, but it was facing outward, and he puts it back facing the wrong way. I remember watching this when I was a kid, like I was young, and my dad was just like, "Uh-oh." Like, oh boy. And I was like...
I did the same thing. I was like, oh, that's the wrong way.
Wrong way. You're fucked. Yeah. And of course, all the doors are locked in the house. She's not going to leave anything. And they're the shitty locks that you have to put a key in.
Yeah.
They're super dangerous. If there's ever a fire and you don't have your keys, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Those ones. So yeah, he's locked in. Yeah. And the other funny thing I have written about Buster, for being the small town cop, seems to be the only cop who is actually knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Because they bring in, like he mentions, the FBI knows, and they bring in state troopers. They find his car.
Yep.
They bring it out, and they said, and they're like, oh, Paul Sheldon he escaped his vehicle or whatever. He's probably dead, or animals got him or whatever. And Buster's like, well, he's talking to his wife. He's like, see the crowbar marks here on the door? Like somebody pried him out.
Yeah, he's like, he didn't get out of there.
Yeah.
It's like,
Buster, the small town cop, knows his shit.
Yeah.
These fucking state troopers stink.
Buster's awesome.
Yeah, he rules.
He has a line there, and he's like, he might be dead, but not the way they said.
That's
or
right.
something like that. That's awesome.
And yeah, he's never given up. Like, he's always looking. And even that, they find the broken limb, and he was very close to the car.
So
he climbed down, and he was like 20 feet away from it, but there was so much snow.
Yeah, how smart was that? Notices a broken tree branch and pulls over to check. But yeah, another competent cop in a movie.
That's right.
Which is nice to see.
Yeah. And then once the other funny thing I think is funny, he starts writing his new misery book, and she comes into the room. This is no good. The first 40 pages, they're gone.
Yeah.
She tells him what you've written here is no good. You lose it all except for naming the gravekeeper or whatever.
Yeah.
After me, you keep that part in there. That was funny.
There's a part where he's just sitting at the typewriter.
Yeah.
And he's just typing, fuck.
Yeah.
And the look on his face when he does it is so funny.
I know, he's great. Yeah, James Caan I think was the perfect choice for this.
Yeah.
I read in the trivia thing that the Jack Nicholson was offered, and he didn't want to do it. And I think Nicholson could have done it.
Yeah.
But I think James Caan, I think he was perfect.
Yeah. If you were going to recast this movie today, who do you put in those roles?
Fuck. I put Scott Cannon, his son. And I don't know for Annie.
Kathy Bates again.
Yeah, Kathy Bates again. Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, she could do it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
She kind of looks like Kathy Bates, a young version.
Yeah, she could definitely do that.
Yeah. That's my pick. What about you?
I like that pick,
There you
actually.
go.
For the guy...
They wanted to do this and ended up doing it on Broadway, I think.
Okay.
And they offered the part to Julia Roberts. And Stephen King was like, no. No, she's supposed to be like a bulky, bigger woman who is able to pick this guy up like they did in the movie.
Yeah.
But I guess what I read was they ended up doing it with... Fuck, I can't remember her name now. I'll look it up and I'll say it. But
I'm going to go with Octavia Spencer.
Okay.
And Paul Giamatti.
Oh, that'd be good. Paul Giamatti's good. Yeah. Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving forward in the movie, after... So, he has written... She tells him what he's done is shit, whatever. Later on, when he rewrites his stuff and she is happy. She's running around saying, "Misery's alive! Misery's alive!" And I think this is he asked her to have dinner with him, like, and I didn't mention, but he had been stopped taking his pills, his pain pills, and he made a little envelope thing and has been popping them open and storing them, I guess.
So. Like pouring all the powder out of them. Which is gross because then it shows him eating the capsules. Yes. And I couldn't imagine trying to swallow those with nothing in them. They'd be so light.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would get stuck in your esophagus.
It's not the right shape anymore because you broke it apart. Ugh.
You'd be better off putting them back together with, like, he was eating at the time. Scoop some mashed potato in there, close it up, and eat it.
Yeah.
Gross. So he asked her to have dinner with him. Now, at dinner, I have a question for you. I'd like to get your opinion on this because
I think I know what's coming.
Yeah, he asks for candles during dinner, so she gets up and leaves. He pours the powder in, shakes it up, hands her drink, and she spills it. Now, do you think that was on purpose? Do you think that it was an accident? Like, watching it what did you think?
Taking the movie in as a whole now, I think she may have done it on purpose.
Okay.
Because later on in the movie, Buster comes, and she's very intent on giving him hot cocoa.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, drink your hot cocoa. You haven't tried your hot cocoa." So it almost seems like she's trying to poison him. So maybe she doesn't trust Paul.
Yeah.
And that thinks he may have tried to poison her.
Yeah.
So I'll say intentional.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because she will get to it in a few minutes here, but she does mention, or she has to have known because the penguin, I don't know if you notice it or not, but apparently I didn't even pay attention, but in that scene, the penguin is back facing the proper way.
Oh, okay.
So she already knows that he's been out.
Yeah.
And we also didn't mention that during that scene, he finds a stack of those pills and he grabs another one.
Yeah.
Now,
she knows how many.
Inventory is probably on point with her, where she checks it every day.
Yeah.
And, so she may have been like, there's a pack missing, he's going to try to poison. So anytime, you know. So, but yeah, I would agree that with what you said. So yeah, jumping ahead, we get the montage kind of thing of him writing. It's just weather changing, rain, snow, everything. Shows us how far along, basically by chapters. It shows him chapter 5, 11, 28, 35, whatever. And it also shows a key point here is him lifting the typewriter, working out right above his head. And I like that quick montage because.
Does the hobbling come before this?
No, it's coming up.
Okay.
Yes. It's actually right here, I believe. Or in a minute here. So it's a stormy night.
Right.
Annie comes in looking like a completely different person.
Yeah.
She's clearly very, very, very depressed.
Yeah. Her eyes are like barely open.
Yeah.
Like her mouth is hanging open.
Yeah. Her hair's even flat. It's not like puffy. She says she's fallen in love with him and she doesn't want to lose him. The book's almost finished, all that shit. His legs are getting better, she mentions. And she shows him that she has a handgun and maybe I'm going to put bullets in it. That creepy, you know. So
then she's just like, I should go now.
Yeah, I should go now. And she literally leaves. Like, she gets in her car and drives away.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, he is like, holy shit, gets out of his room, goes and grabs a kitchen knife, like, from the chopping block.
At that point, when she left, I was like, is she just leaving him there to die?
Yeah.
Or, like, what's going on?
Yeah, she could go and kill herself.
Yeah.
And then he's pretty well stranded until somebody would come.
That's kind of what I thought was going to happen until... Ugh.
Yeah. She... during that scene when he's out getting the knife, that's the scene when we see the memory lane. Mm-hmm. She's got clippings of like her going up the ranks of a nurse as other things are people dying.
Yeah.
And it's very creepy.
It is.
Like,
it's like there's clippings about infant deaths happening at this hospital she's working at. Then
Jesus.
It's about her going to jail.
Yeah.
How is she out of jail?
I don't know. Maybe it's in the book more. They get into it more, but they just didn't fill it out here.
Because it just, unless she, I guess maybe mental claims insanity or something.
Could be.
Because her age, from when she's a nurse to how old she is now,
it's not.
Doesn't make sense that she's spent enough time in prison for
and
murdering babies.
I wonder if in those clippings, if you paused it and kind of read what it said, like it may say that she got off on a technicality of some sort.
That's true.
That happens sometimes, so it could be something like that. But, So he gets the knife. I love the scene. He gets himself back into bed, and he's practicing. He's got it in his sling.
Yeah.
And he's getting ready, right?
Yeah.
And she pulls in.
Did you ever notice, that knives always make that noise in movies? Even if they're not being pulled out of a knife block, they're always like, swing.
I can kind of get them to make that noise, but never as loud or as good as it is in movies.
No matter what they do with it, they just kind of...
The best way to do it is to take it and run it off your counter. It kind of gets it vibrating and makes the noise. So there's a tip for all you psychos out there.
You're welcome, psychos.
Yeah. So she comes back in, and you see her feet at the door, and then she just carries on. So he's like, okay. Putting the knife under the mattress, get ready to fight the next time I see you.
Yeah.
Now, this part, it's a thunderstorm happening.
Yeah.
He wakes up and he looks over, and there's a flash of lightning and a crash of thunder as she is standing right beside his fucking bed, grabs his arm and sticks a needle in it.
Yeah.
That, when I was a kid, scared the fuck out of me so bad. And probably didn't help that my dad was there going, Jesus! And, we're all watching this as a family. Yeah. Good family movie night.
Hey, that's
being
right.
9 years old. But yeah, it got me. And it still gets me. Like, I know it's coming. It's fun to watch this with people who haven't seen it before, because I always sneak the volume up a little bit. And that crash of her, being there. And then the morning. He wakes up. He's very groggy. Drowsy, groggy. And
new word.
She mentioned, I know you've been out of your room, Paul. And you see his hand reaching for the knife that he had stored, looking for this. And she mentions the penguin, so she knows he's been out.
Yeah.
Now, she put that block of wood between his legs, like right at his shin bone level.
Yeah.
And she mentions it's the hobbling. And does she give that a good swing. And she hits that ankle, and that thing, you see it turn.
Snap. Completely
in. Now, I just read in the book, she actually cuts his foot off with an axe.
Oh, okay.
His left leg or something. Cuts it off with an axe. Now, they didn't put it in the movie because of the violence. They didn't want, the gore, I guess, of chopping off the leg. But I think you'll agree with me on this. This is almost better.
This is way more brutal.
I think it's because we've seen limbs being chopped off before.
Yeah.
Never really seen this type of thing before.
No, this is new.
Yeah.
And going into it, in my head, I thought she just used a regular hammer and hit his ankles or something.
His ankle, yeah.
I didn't know that she takes a sledgehammer and cracks his foot.
It's got to be a 50-pound sledge.
Yeah.
And she doesn't hold back. She hits that thing, and it literally, it turns in. And the scream that he lets out, and then she does the other one.
Yeah, and the look on his face, it looks like they actually did this to him.
Yeah. Brutal.
Yeah. Great acting all around.
Yeah, very, very much so. And then at after she breaks both his ankles, she stands at the foot of the bed. The camera zooms in on her. God, I love you. Wow. Just creep. The creepiness of this it's peaked. It's great.
It is.
Now, this is the line you had mentioned, some of her swear words. She's driving into town, and she gets right in front of Buster, right in front of Buster's office there, and somebody had pulled out and almost hit her, and she gets out of her car, and she calls, "You cockadoodie!" And Buster is watching this, and he starts laughing.
Yeah.
It's great. And that's, I think, what triggers him, like, hey, you.
Yeah.
Because he starts doing his looking into her.
Yeah.
Now, this is my biggest problem with Buster. I've praised him up as being such a good cop. I wish he went to her house when she was in town.
Yeah.
Just to feel out the property. You're not going to go inside. You can look in windows a little bit here and there. But he waits for her. Like, he could have his wife be like, call me when she's on her way back out of town.
Yeah.
But instead he goes out there and...
Buster doesn't handle this part very well at all. He doesn't tell anybody where he's going.
The whole movie he's been very secretive about, even to his wife. He's kind of just not filling her in on things.
Yeah. Like apparently the FBI, I don't know if they're still there looking for Paul or what.
I don't know.
He goes to the house. It's obvious that this lady has something to do with this.
Yeah.
She has like pictures of Paul. He's like, oh, what can you tell me about Paul Sheldon or whatever? Yeah. And she just starts naming every fact about like his life. And right then I'd be like, okay, thanks, have a good day.
Yeah.
And I would leave, go get some cops and come back.
Yeah.
But he hears banging in the house and then he runs back in.
Yeah.
And this is where poor old Buster gets blown to bits.
Boy, does his chest open up like the alien came out of it.
Yeah. Shoots him in the back with a shotgun and just blows him open.
Mr. Sheldon? Boom! Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Buster, I'm guessing, didn't follow protocol there.
No, I don't think so at all.
No.
Yeah, but that's like my pet peeve with Buster. The cop, such a good cop up until then. Not telling anybody, not going when she's known not to be there, just to feel her out a little bit, feel the house out. Yeah.
Because he pretty much has it figured out when he's talking to the guy in the store.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, has she been buying anything weird?
Yeah, paper, he says.
Like, yeah, unless you call paper weird. And then that kind of sets him off.
Yeah. And I will say her story is decent enough because he's like, she says, like, I set up the second bedroom as an office and I'm going to write, or, you know, I'm becoming the new... And it's buyable enough for a super fan you'd think to be like, and she even offers like, see my writings here, you want to read some? And he's like, no thank you, not much of a reader.
He's just after reading all of Paul Sheldon's books.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just poor Buster.
Yeah.
Now,
right as I started liking Buster, I was like, something bad's going to happen, and I don't want it to.
Oh, Buster. Now, Paul, she had thrown him in the basement, and well down there, he found the lighter fluid that she made him burn his book with.
Yeah.
So he gets the lighter fluid. Now, she is coming down to get him, and basically tells him it's time to end, like, it's going to be a murder-suicide.
Yeah.
And he convinces her, like, the book's almost done, you know, let's do this, and that's the plan.
Yeah, let him finish the book.
Yeah. My favorite part is her pronunciation of the champagne. Dom Perignon is what she calls it. Dom Perignon. And he's like, Dom Perignon. Right. Like, yes, you got it. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
She's just such a dummy. So he had finished his book, and she gets him the Dom Perignon and the single cigarette, and she brings it to him, and he's like, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, but this time we'll need 2 glasses, and she's all like, oh, good.
Yeah.
And while she's out, he sprays the thing with fluid and gets the match ready.
Yeah, the book.
Yeah. Lights the book up. It was great. The scene of him, like, you want to know if Misery ended up with this guy or this guy? It's all right here. And she's just, like, looking at it like, fuck, you know? Like, almost like a heroin addict is looking at a bag, you know? They're just like, I want that.
Yeah.
And he ends up lighting it, throws it on the book. She goes and starts stomping it out, like, or patting it out with her hands. And he fucking picks up that typewriter over his head and he cracks her on top of the skull.
Yeah. It barely phases her.
I know. She's like a football linebacker.
Yeah, she's right up.
Oh, the fight at that point is on.
Brutal.
It is. It's great. They're going at it.
He's gouging her eyes out with his thumbs. She's covered in blood.
She gets a roundup, blows through his shoulder. He wheels forward, jumps out of the chair. The second round goes off, so now we know there's no bullets left.
Yeah.
Because she did only put 2 in.
And that's so funny whenever he wheels towards her and shoots himself out of the chair.
Yeah, it's great. Now, this is my favorite Paul Sheldon line because he gets like full mount on her almost. Mm-hmm. And he goes, with his book, he starts grabbing it.
Like those old ashy pages.
Yeah, the old ashy pages. And he goes, you want it? You want it? Eat it! Eat it till you choke, you sick, twisted fuck! As he's ramming it down her fucking throat.
Yeah.
It is hilarious. And the other thing that because she breaks character for herself, and she goes, what's the line? I'm gonna kill you, you lying cocksucker!
Yeah.
And she's attacking him. It's great.
I love when she's running at him and he grabs his own legs.
Yeah.
And he throws them in front of her to trip her.
Yeah.
This is my favorite part.
Okay.
Her head hits the typewriter and it goes ding!
It sure does.
She smokes like her temple off the corner of
and
it.
you think that that's it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's going to kill her. But as he's crawling
this is a
out,
horror movie, so it's not the end.
She fucking is back alive and back on top of him. They're rolling around, and that's when he grabs that, like, it's like a cast iron pig or something.
Yeah, it's like a doorstop.
Yeah. And he gives her a good, like, kind of up.
Like a jab to the head with it.
And it hits her in the mouth, nose area, and that ends it.
Yeah.
Now, she falls on top of him. So we don't know how he got out of the house or anything, but I assume Buster, him being missing and everything like that, they were going to put it together at some point.
Yeah, they'd find his vehicle there.
Yeah. Now we jump ahead 18 months later. I like the ending. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's walking with a cane, and he mentions how he still sees Annie, and we get the scene of that waitress coming with like the cake tray, and it's Annie pushing it with a fucking huge knife, and then it's just some random woman. I'm your number one fan.
Yeah.
And I like that ending. I think it's good. But yeah, what do you think of the ending?
I like the ending too.
Yeah.
I like that one last little creepy moment where it's like he's never really going to recover from this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, even though he's now safe and Annie's dead, he's still gonna always be looking for her.
Always be in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the end.
Yeah.
Only 2 kills, like we mentioned. Buster and Annie are the only 2 deaths in it. Another I think there were 2 last week too in The Shining.
Yeah.
Anyway, which kill did you like more?
Buster.
Okay.
I love the fake out kill of Annie when she hits her head on the typewriter.
Right.
The actual kill?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
But Buster getting his chest blown open is wild.
Yeah, it's nuts.
You?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So least favorite kill, I guess, technically is Annie.
Yeah.
Even though it's not even that bad.
Yeah. Anything make you jump?
Buster getting shot in the chest.
Okay.
I was fully expecting him to get killed there.
Right.
But I thought she was going to hit him with the sledgehammer or like a shovel or something in the back. But it's just like, boom! And his chest goes flying everywhere.
Sure does.
Yeah. It got me.
Yeah.
You?
And mine was in the thunderstorm.
With the needle.
That scared me.
Spooky, scary, terrifying.
I'll put this one at scary, although when I first watched it, I probably had it at terrifying.
Yeah.
What about you?
If there's something between scary and terrifying, I'm right in there.
Okay.
And it's not even the movie itself, it's the thought of, like, if I was in this situation, I would lose my mind.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. I have a couple things of trivia.
Okay.
I already mentioned the one about the axe thing, but Kathy Bates won Best Actress for this at the Oscars, so that's pretty cool.
Rightfully so.
And if I'm not mistaken here, because it's not a horror movie, but it is definitely leaning more horror than anything else.
Yeah.
And like the next year or a year later, Jodie Foster won for Silence of the Lambs, which is like another one that's thriller
horror.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool that those ones won so close together at that time. But
if only they
continued
with Toni Collette.
Exactly.
And Hereditary.
There could have been more even in between there that they just don't nominate.
I'm going to bring that one up any chance I get.
Yeah, I hear you.
So that really annoyed me.
Yeah, so on to ratings, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you give it? Do you want me to go first?
No, I'm going to give it probably like a 6.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
I know.
It's a 9.
Okay.
I really, really like this movie.
Yeah, I give it a 9 as well.
A couple of weeks in a row with some high ratings.
High ratings, yeah. It's good.
Yeah. So yeah, next week we'll probably continue our Stephen King trend.
Yeah.
With one more master of horror writer.
Yeah.
Whatever he is. He's a man of many hats.
I like him.
Me too. Bye.